just get to the main program of today. Um, I would like to ask some of you to type your takeaway from the previous class today. You have been having classes, and we just want to know what you have been learning, your key takeaways from the previous class. How has it been? What are those things that you've learned from the class? You can drop them on your chat, and if you wish to speak, maybe I can give one or two person to the privilege to speak. Are you there? Hello, please confirm if you can hear me. If you can hear me, just type 100 on the chat box so that I can confirm that you are hearing me right now. Hello, I hope I am audible enough. Oh, thank you very much. That is wonderful. Now I can confirm that you can hear me. So I'd like to have some key takeaways from your previous class. You can chat it, and if you wish to speak, you can raise your hand so that we can discuss the previous takeaways together. Okay, I'm guessing here from Rebecca saying good evening, everyone. Rebecca from the Republic of Congo. You're welcome, Rebecca, and I'm waiting to see takeaways from other people. Okay, I can see from Clara here. She said, my takeaway, my take home was how best I can, sorry, my takeaway was how best I can apply for scholarship and their validity and reliability. That is wonderful. That is awesome. Okay, I can see a hand up. Esther, you want to share us with your key takeaway? You're welcome. Esther, please, you can unmute your mic and share with us your key takeaway.
Oh yeah. Thanks for unmuting. I think we cannot unmute the mics on our own, so thank you. My name is Esther Miramo from Kenya, and I think the last training that we had last week was about scholarship applications and how best we could leverage on them to know which ones are authentic. And yeah, I think I pretty much learned a lot. Thank you.
All right, Esther, thank you so much for sharing your key takeaway, and that is wonderful. That means you're going according to how the class has been. That is a wonderful one. Well done. And okay, we'll be going straight to the topic of today, and I know you are all excited. I want to see your excitement from your emojis. I want to see beautiful emojis. Just to prepare ourselves ahead on what we on the course we'll be taking here today. I want to share me with your beautiful images, please. I want to see your reaction. I want to see if you are actually prepared for this section today. So I want to see beautiful emojis, whether on the chat or even through the reactions. I want to see how excited you are. Okay, I just got the information that our facilitator is not here yet, so we'll have to wait some minutes for the facilitator. I want to urge to please share more of what we've learned so far from our previous class while we wait for our facilitator to join us soon. I'll be reading some takeaways here. I can see here from Kum from Cameroon. He said, I learned about scholarship, CAVE, and other scholarship opportunities like McGill's, MasterCard Foundation, and others. This is fantastic. And this is a very, very good one. Um, so I still want to see your emoji. I still want to hear about your previous class, what you've learned from it. I know a lot of us have actually learned a lot from the previous class, so I want to see that, please. You're welcome. I can see a lot of people just joining us. You're welcome. I can see Nelson, Eta, Anna. I can see Beatrice. I can see a lot of people just joining us. You're welcome. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Our facilitator is here right now. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Okay, let me read one more takeaway before I bring in our facilitator for today. So, I can see here from Yaya Yusuf Olalekon. He said, our guest lecturer, the center, the topic scholarship, how to position ourselves for the offers, getting our document ready, and necessary information required by leveraging our intel into use. Wow, that is fantastic. So, as you have done before now, please share me your lovely emojis. Let me see more of them as I'll be introducing our facilitator for today, who is a fantastic person, is here to give us everything we need to know about communication and public speaking. The topic for today is communication and public speaking, and I'll be sharing more about him soon. So please, I want to see more of your emoji. If I'm not seeing enough, I want to bring him on board because this is someone who is here to share with us what he has experienced over the years. He has a lot of information to share with us right now. So I want to see more of the excitement of how anxious we are to learn from this person. Okay, okay. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Fantastic. Okay, I'll be introducing our facilitator for today. Our guest speaker, his name is Nelson L. Etta. Okay, Nelson Etta is a seasoned broadcast journalist, speaker, corporate compare, and author. He has a unique ability of creating platforms and connecting people to all walks of life, irrespective of age, status, and gender, to communicate, resolve conflicts, and pursue a common goal. Skilled with the use of words and the art of communication, he has created stories that highlight the plight of citizens, interviewed political leaders, music icons, A-list actors, as well as frontliners from the business and academic circles. True current affairs and human-based program and entertainment shows on radio and television on Cross River Broadcasting Corporation, CRBC, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, Eboyi Broadcasting Corporation, EBBC, City FM, Lagos, and now TVC News, Lagos, Nigeria. He is a graduate of mass communication with certification in broadcasting and English proficiency from PEFT and the Korean Framework of Reference. Is an author of a new communication prototype, Act Like a Student, Speak Like a Boss. Wow. A practical guide to communicating with power and purpose. I want to see your clap. I want to see that beautiful emojis of yours as we welcome Mr. Nelson Etta as he will be taking today's class on communication and public speaking. Mr. Nelson, you have the floor. Thank you very much, sir.
Right. Okay, good. I was waiting for that to happen so everybody can hear me. Good evening, everybody. It's good to be here.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah,
Good evening, sir.
good to see you. My apologies, I wasn't here at dot 5 a.m. I had to clear some things at work. Because of this class, I could not be at the office physically today. So I was running things here from home. But I'm glad to be here this evening. Good evening, everyone. I hope we've been enjoying, thus far. And I I believe that this session that we're going to have together would leave us with so much information that at the end of the day, our quivers will be full of a lot of knowledge that will help us. Oh, that thing was making noise. A lot of knowledge that will help us to become better in what we're doing. Yes, good evening, everyone. I'm seeing all the salutations that is coming in. Thank you, and thank you. All right, so we don't have a lot of time, so I'd like to get straight into our conversation. Our focus this evening is on communication and public speaking. And I apologize, if it were possible to put my thing out here, I'd so do. Um, However, it's in a Word document, and it's on my laptop, though I'd sent it to the team. So I'm sorry, y'all may not probably be able to see that, but I'll try to follow chronologically what is right here so that we can work together. All right. For me, communication is a very important skill and ability that we need to have as living organisms. Quite frankly, even non-living things do communicate. Yeah. And so you would imagine then we who are living organisms not being able to communicate, to transfer, share ideas, knowledge, and impact each other in a way that makes life easy, in a way that helps us to work together to achieve a common goal. And all over the world, in whatever sector, in whatever sphere, in anything at all, whether it be for good or for bad, right? You realize that communication is at the core of everything. Thank you, ma'am. Communication is at the core of everything. And so, in a space where the ability to communicate in a way that causes understanding and brings us to a unification for achieving a purpose is not there, then there is a lot of difficulty, a lot of friction and fraction in that space. And so you realize that a lot of people within that environment are either doing things based on what they feel or what they think, because there is no clarity and there is no unison or harmony or symphony or unity in an agenda. And that's where communication comes in. You see, because of my job and a lot of persons around me, family-wise, I have some level of insight into the uniform agencies, especially the military and some other tougher guys. Uniform agency. I mean, in that circle, communication is probably one of the topmost requirement for you to function at the optimum. Because once an instruction is given you by a superior, you are expected to carry that instruction out to the letter. Where you miss an item, you fail an entire plan throughout. And so when I came to understand this, I realized then that this communication of a thing is a little bit beyond, an ability to speak good English and an ability to, be phonetically inclined, an ability to be verbose or be grandiose in your words. I'm not saying that is bad, don't get me wrong. I realized that then it is much more than that. Because really, is communication a platform or a medium or arsenal to display your word dexterity, or is it a medium for transference of ideas? Is it a medium for achieving a goal? What you define communication to be and how you understand it then determines the purpose of why you communicate. And it also determines how you apply it as a tool to achieving a result. And so for me, I said that communication is the leader's most effective. Okay, something is wrong here. Okay, we're back. A leader's most effective, strongest, and biggest vehicle of conveying people from one point of success, because it has to be so, to another, right? I say that any leader or leaders risk having little or no impact if they cannot communicate their thoughts and convictions. I said here that leadership demands speaking, and speaking effectively for that matter. When I say leadership and a leader, I'm not referring to somebody who is in a position, even though that will affect somebody who is in a position. I'm talking to you. I'm referring to you as an individual, as a son, as a father, as a husband, as a wife, as, as an uncle, as an auntie, as a lawyer, right? As an MD, as a CEO, as a director, as whatever you do, as whoever you are a leader. Leadership is not necessarily or not compulsory that you need to be in a position that has a title. Leadership simply means you are somebody who is taking responsibility for your space, And if you have to be in charge of your space, you must be able to communicate and do so efficiently and effectively. Okay, and so in this course, I'm hoping that at the end of the day, we are going to look at the speaker, you. We're going to look at communication and principles that is required. We're going to also look at public speaking at the end of the day. Now, I hope that in this program, when we are done, you would be equipped with the basic knowledge. This is a basic course, by the way. This is basic, certificate course for communication. I hope you'll be able to, you'll be equipped with those basic niceties. And at the end of the day, you'd be able to communicate effectively in the world that we live in today, even as we prepare for a more complex world to come. So let's begin like this. What is communication? This is how I define it. I say communication is, by the way, y'all, all I'm going to share with y'all is from my new book, Act Like a Student, Speak Like a Boss. The book is on Amazon. If you go there, put my name or put the title of the book. My name is Nelson Etta. Or the title of the book, Act Like a Student, Speak Like a Boss. You can find it there and buy a copy for yourself, or else get to the organizers, they'll get to me and we'll send a copy of this book to you, because I'm just going to scratch the surface, right, of this to you. So communication is the exchange, the transmission, the superimposing of your entire self, which includes your personality, your attitude, your belief system, and your mindset, right? And this can be either verbally or non-verbally, through words and action to an audience for the singular purpose of achieving a common result. Now, I know that's a little bit, not so normal. For some of you, probably will be hearing this for the first time. What's he talking about? I'll break it down as we go on, right? The reason why I came to the conclusion of that definition of communication, again, I realized that, let's move to the speaker, yourself. and knowledge. I realized that what gives rise to anybody's speaking, your ability to communicate and to be fluent and be effective, to hold your own fort, to be confident in your delivery and own a space where your voice comes with such authority and power. I realized that what gives you that opulent is knowledge. 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 This is very important. I'll say a lot of things, but this is the foundation. This is the opium of all that we're going to talk about today. Knowledge is at the core of any effective communication. And when we talk about communication, I'd like you to please debunk the idea that you have to be on a lectern, speaking in front of hundreds or thousands or, as the case may be, persons. Then that's where the prowess of your knowledge would be seen. No. If you have to wait until a lectern is before you, then you will be ill prepared. You have to be somebody who is a walking reservoir of information, of knowledge. You might not know everything concerning everything, right? But you have to be somebody who is informed. And you cannot do that if you're not a student of knowledge. You have to be somebody who goes for knowledge, who studies, who reads, who is inquisitive for information. Let's assume you read, what should I call it now? Philosophy or engineering, for instance, mechanical engineering. Now, even in that field of mechanical engineering, as life happens, innovations are happening within that space. You need to be someone who keeps abreast. Now, you finished university maybe 4-10 years ago, as the case may be, or you're probably even still in school, depending, but no matter the time you exist, there are innovations that bursts up in that sector, in that field. If all that you want to know would be based on what you either studied in the four walls of the university, right? Or you are studying in the four walls of the university, then that's a very limited understanding of what it is you're doing. And so if you want to raise the bar of your person in a field you belong, you have to be able to go for more information. You have to be able to go for more information. And so I said, communication is first who you are before what you say or what you do. So the question then is, what is on the inside of you? What is on your inside? How rich is your information and knowledge bank? This is very important. I said here, what is the quality information? The information with which you are running with to execute anything. I'll give you a typical example. Now, I knew I was going to be here this evening to have a conversation with us. I am a broadcast communicator and an author, it's something I do regularly in that sense. But guess what? I went online today to research, just to check, is there something new that has come up that I wasn't aware, right? Okay, somebody says we seem to be missing audio. If you can hear me, just please say something. So, we can hear me. Okay, somebody says the audio is off. Okay. I just want to be very sure. Another person says it is okay. Okay, somebody says it's back up. All right. Okay, great. Oh, wow. All right, great. That's fine. That's okay, guys. I can see that everybody's hearing me now. Okay, great. So I was trying to say this. For it, I've been doing this. This is what I do on a norm, and we'll get to that part which handles this. But I just want to tip that in here. It's what I do on a normal. It's okay for me to probably say, well, I just probably pull out a slide, and I have quite a number of it. I just pull on one slide, that I give somewhere, and I probably, maybe remove or add and then come and present to you guys. Now that would still be okay, right? Right? It will still be okay. But guess what? I went online. I just wanted to check. Is there something that has popped up that I'm not aware? Is there a new tech added to this? I visited some, big hardcore, just to be sure that I'm up to date. And by the way, if you buy this book, you would be shocked at the dimension of communication that I took in the book. Because again, what I tried to and I achieved in this book was to break the myth of communication from something that looks very difficult, very hard, something that looks for the British voice and the American voice alone. Something that looks like you need to be an Ivy League guy or girl, or, before you can come into that space. The intent of that book was to help everybody, or is to help everybody realize that you can be a great speaker, you can be a great communicator. It doesn't take accent, it takes knowledge to be a great communicator. So I had to go online just to check myself up, because 1 second of knowledge missed can put you one step behind. And so what is the quality of your operational information? I said here that communication is an art. It's an art, which means it is a process. It is a process. I'd like you to understand this. It is a process. You will not become the whole of it in one day. It is a process which can be learned. And that's exactly why we are in this class. It can be learned. And so gradually you are applying it. Again, remember when we said earlier, the quest for knowledge, when you are applying yourself to learning, to being taught, then gradually your persona and your speaking ability in communication now becomes more refined, more polished. Then you become a more polished communicator or speaker. I'm running because I got a lot to say to you all tonight. So I said here that words reveal your mentality and your mindset. This is very important. Again, we're still talking about the foundation, which is knowledge. Knowledge, the quality of your knowledge is calculated or can be calculated or submitted by your words. And so your words exposes what you know. So if you have a very nice accent, great accent, you speak British English or American or whichever accent would be in that sense, it's not wrong. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm trying to make a point. And they give you the platform. But then the content of the information for which you're bringing to the people who are listening to you is not up to par. And then the other guy who probably doesn't have that kind of an accent that you do have is bringing that kind of, who do you think people would go for? You have the accent without knowledge, and the other guy who doesn't have the accent but has knowledge. You see now, it's okay to have both the accent and the knowledge, but I'd rather choose knowledge than the accent. Okay, let's talk about the speaker's voice, your voice, your voice. This is very important. I probably will spend a little bit more time here before we move on. I said here that the voice of a speaker is the conveyor of your rich thoughts and idea. This is very important because your voice is your most treasured commodity. Your voice. I give an example. I attended a class quite a long time ago, and this guy came on the lectern to speak. It was about business, because I attend all kinds of trainings, and so when he picked up and the intro of him was wonderful, and then the guy picked up the microphone. From his first speech, everybody just went off. You know why everybody went off? So he had this very feeble, I don't want to be, a little bit, but feminine, very feeble, kind of voice that was a little bit of a turnoff for the audience. And so all the time he was speaking, people are either grumbling or chit-chatting beside each other or on the phone, or, some level of, we're not paying attention to you, Oga, in the atmosphere. And it pained me so much for him. I mean, it pained me. I was embarrassed on his behalf. And so at the end of the class, I had to go meet him. And then we were having this conversation. And I said to him, I said, look, we need to do something about your voice. We need to do something about your voice. And so it's important that you know how to use your voice to convey your thoughts. And these are different ways. I wrote down here that we can do that. I hope the network is helping us to hear me pretty well. I truly hope so. I said use vocal variety. What does this mean? Vocal variety means you have to know when to be strong with your voice, when to go low. Again, remember, we're talking about communication, speaking. Okay? You have to know when to be low. You have to know when to be hard. You have to know when to be deep, when to be soft. You have to know how to flexify or modulate your voice. There's something we did while I was in PEFT many years ago. My old lecturer at the time, he taught us something called a speech graph, more like solfa notes. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, more like solfa notes, right? So you could, from your communication, he was able to, okay, great. Somebody says we can hear me. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll answer that question. How do you become a great speaker with, speech impediment? I'll come this. Please remind me of that question again toward the end. My apologies, please. I can't take that straight up now. Okay. So he was able to, put a graph on our speech. And so he showed us that in communication, it's not a straight plane in that sense. There has to be, it's like going up the tide on the sea wave and coming down, just like that. It makes it beautiful. Oh boy, it's wonderful to hear somebody who is able to pick that microphone and bring a very flexible, undulating conversation, right? It's attractive, and it's an art. It's a skill you need to learn. I'll give you a typical example. I don't know how many of us have been following the American election. The Republican Party had their convention a few weeks ago, and then followed by the Democratic Party. If you want to juxtapose both parties, the people who had the great effect when it comes to oratory was the DNC, the Democratic Party, right? And then top on that list, I would say top, was Michelle Obama, the former first, lady. I mean, she tore America into 10 with her ability. If you haven't watched it, just, it's on YouTube, right? You could just go check, just sit down and watch Michelle Obama's presentation, right? I mean, it was a fine speech she delivered compared to, the other guys from the other, not that they were bad, but in comparison. But my point is the ability to be able to hold your audience. It's with your voice. So now you have knowledge. Mm-hmm. A professor, a PhD holder, whatever it is you are, from whatever field, and then you're called to, okay, hey, come say this and that to us. The ability to be able to hold your audience sway with your voice. Now we're focusing on the voice. There's a lot more other things, non-verbal and all of, but we're talking about the voice. The ability of your voice to rasp the people's attention to what you're saying is very important, because at the end of the day, the flexibility and the veracity of your voice conveys the different thought pattern and the different ideas that are inflected into your thoughts that you're trying to bring across to the people. And so you have to be able to carry the people along like that. Leave them sometimes to fall and then pick them up back again. in a way that allows them to be lost and found, you know, in the tide of what it is you're communicating. That way you leave an impression that you are somebody who knows what it is you are doing. I said also that your voice must be able to reflect and express empathy and sympathy. This is very important, very important. I said also that you must be articulate and enunciate distinctly every word with your voice. And I put a caveat here, which is really important. I said, try to avoid all forms of mother tongue. Okay, you know, every tribe in Nigeria, we have our own mother tongue, you know. The H factor, the T factor, you know, the Y factor, as it were. All of us have, you know, all tribes have our own different, you know, mother tongue. But if you want to be somebody who stands up above the levels of the water, you need to be able to push yourself. Push yourself. But you see, let me add this to that. One of the I'm trying to look for the right word now. One of the things that gives you the push to want to go further and beyond is what you see of yourself. Is who you see yourself becoming. If you are seeing yourself playing in a small space, your push will not want to go too far because what you have is enough for the space you see yourself. But if your eyes are opening up to see a larger space, it will push you to want to. That's why people go for masters in Yale or Roberts or name them across the place. It's not so much that the master itself is because I want to raise myself to play at a certain level. Very important, very important. And so I said here, avoid all forms of mother tongue. Let's talk about accent here, because this is also where a lot of us have problem. I said accent is different from pronunciation. Accent is different from pronunciation. You see, pronunciation means pronouncing the words exactly the way they are. Accent is the tonality of a tribe or a people. I can have a Yoruba accent, but pronounce the words correctly. English words that I mean. I can have a Hausa accent, but pronounce the words. Okay, I'll give you an example. How many of us know Cyrus Tova? How many of us used to watch NTA? Cyrus Tova. Yeah, fantastic guy. He trained us, I think this is 3 weeks now. Yeah, in his own communication training class. He came, and it was beautiful. Cyrus Tova, you have no doubt he's a Hausa man. But boy, you're going to love him when he's talking because he got it all put together, right? Well, you understand what I'm trying to say, right? Okay, so this is really, really very important. Don't be shamified about your accent. You probably may not be able to help removing the accent, but you must be able to pronounce words effectively and efficiently. All right, let's talk about the speaker's appearance. This is very important. Again, remember, we're talking about communication and public speaking. Okay, I said look sharp, look smart, be trimmed, right? Groom yourself. In standing before people to speak, you want to avoid too much color riot on you, color blocking. You have a red tie, a blue blazer, a green pocket hanky, as for a guy now, for instance, and then your shirt is keep it simple. For ladies, the same thing. Your hair shouldn't be all over the place. You can't be having a dangling earring that is as massive as that, and then your lipstick is as red, loudly red as, no. You want to keep it very simple. Your makeup is all over the place. Keep it simple and trim, because you want to take attention off of your looks to the knowledge you're trying to bring out to the people. That is more important than your looks. I'm not saying look bad. No, be classic. Be as corporate as you can, but don't allow your looks distract the people's attention on the information. This is very, very important. And for guys, sometimes avoid too much of an extremely tight pant. It's a distraction. Same thing also for ladies. Avoid too much of an extremely tight outfit when you're standing in front of people to speak, because you're allowed to go down on this lane. As men sitting in the group, looking at a lady whose boobs is tightly shaped out there and whose back is also tightly shaped, I'm not really listening to what she said. I'm just doing a lot of assessment up in there. Okay, you people may not really like that, but that's the truth. This is what we were told, and it's the truth, really. And so this is very important. This is very important. If you don't pay attention to some of these things, then the effectiveness of your delivery would be hampered. That also goes down to hygiene. You know, the way you smell when you come out, the complete grooming of your persona. Keep a nice haircut, right? Keep a nice, some people come on the platform and then when they hold that microphone, their nails are all over the place. No, you don't want to do that. Keep it simple and clean. Be as professional as much as you can. Remember, you are talking to a global world, not your village. Yeah. All right. Let's look quickly at some principles of communication. I wrote down, there are over 20 of them I have, but I had to pick just 5. I'm sorry, so that I can try to keep up and meet up with time. 5 do's of communication. Number 1, clarity. This is very important. If you want to make impact in a very short space of time, make your points clear. Don't stuff too much ideas into one sentence, because whilst you're speaking, people are doing mental mathematics. And so they want to be able to arrive at an answer to what you just said and move along with you. Not that they are stuck in a thinking you are in number 5 and they are still talking number 1. So keep it as simple per time so that everybody's moving as you're delivering. Everybody's also coming along with you. This is very important. A lot of speakers, we can get stuck up a little bit sometimes into keep it simple. Number 2, be concrete. Let your message be solid, sensible, thinkable, touchable, feelable, relatable. Bring the message home. No matter how big a subject is, no matter how complex, that's why you are there. That's why you were called to speak. You have to be able to break down the complexity of that topic or focus into feelable elements that everybody can put in their pocket and go back home with, right? Make it as concrete as possible so the idea lives and stays with the people. Make it also coherent. This is number 3. Let there be a rise and a crescendo in your deliveries. Don't deliver from the top to the middle, then to the bottom. From the bottom to the middle to the top. No, bring your ideas level after level in a very coherent way, that at the end of the day, there's a whole 360 package delivered to a person or to persons. Also be credible. Be credible. If you ask me to come and speak about aeronautics, because I'm a broadcast journalist who have 1 or 2 ideas about things, I probably will speak to that, but I'm not the most credible person to speak on that subject because that's not what I do or who I am. Be credible. Before you churn out an information, make sure you have enough knowledge stored up in your quiver about that thing so that when you speak, it has impact. Number 5, be creative. Be creative in your delivery. Play a little bit. Sometimes you can go a little bit out of, the lines of what you had written down and just relate with the people. Make the audience feel free. Relax with them. I just wish we were all in the same room. Now go laugh time. Relax with the people. Be at home with them. You be a human being, not a god. Relate with the people. Use a lot of imageries and pictures as much as possible to deliver your message. That way, it will stick. Now, let's talk about the don'ts, the things you should never do. Number 1, Never come unprepared. Whether it is in an aircraft with a fellow passenger, whether it is in the market, it is in the office, it is anywhere it is, be as much prepared as you can. Again, I want to say this. Stop preparing to speak on a lectern. Start preparing to speak on the streets, in the office, on a dining table, anywhere you find yourself. Let your persona says intelligent, informed, knowledgeable. Then when we put you up there, we're not going to have a doubt that you can deliver. This is very important. Number 3, don't be distracted. Whilst you're using imagery and being relaxed and painting yourself and doing all that kind of stuff, with the people, don't deviate from the focus of what it is you're trying to achieve. This is very important because at the end of the day, all of those plays are just garnishings. The people want to eat the food, and the food is a conclusion of the idea you're trying to pass across. So don't let yourself be distracted. Stay on course. Number 4, don't be loutish, or what I call exaggerated. Stay within the means of your ability and capacity. Don't say things you haven't done or you haven't achieved or you haven't attained. Don't go beyond the boundaries of your skills, or else you come out as fake before the people because you want to be as original as possible. And number 5, don'ts of communication: never copy anyone. If I let me read the way I wrote here, I said you are who you are and not who you see on TV, on the pages of magazines, right? I said here, be comfortable in who you are and deliver based on what you know. This is very, very important, very important, especially in a world, where there's quite a whole lot going on. There's a tendency that I want to sound like him, I want to sound like her. Why wouldn't I? It's different from admiring a person. Of course, you should admire somebody. I'm not against that. However, you have to be comfortable in your own skin. It is not your sound that drives communication. It is your knowledge. And so once your quiver is full of knowledge, that becomes the opium from where you should communicate from. Once you achieve that, you are good to go. And lastly, wow, okay, pretty fast. Let's talk strictly on public speaking right about now. There are quite many types of public speaking, but I chose these 3 to discuss with you guys today. Number 1, speaking to inform. This is just, the peripheries of the matter, where you're just coming to inform people, breaking down complex ideas into very clear, simple, tools that everybody can use. And this can be done either practically, right, or slides to bring that knowledge. Is simply an informative kind of speaking. An example of an informative kind of speaking is a practical training like what we're doing now. This is, informative, just informing you, right? And that happens in our boardrooms, in business meetings, in, stuff like that. Is strictly informative. And once you're able to have that, it's a type of public speaking. Now, another type of public speaking that is really important, and I see a lot of people use that a lot, is to just inspire. This is where motivational speakers come in, and sometimes, imams and pastors, right? They want to inspire the audience. Or sometimes maybe at a ceremonial function, maybe like as a wedding or a coronation, or something that is ceremonial in nature. It's the speeches there are for inspiration, for motivation, is to wow the people. So that's where sometimes you hear somebody be very empathetic, in the choice of conversation or speech delivery, or very grandiose, right, in the choice of words in delivery, because the goal of that is just, I gotta wow them people. I need to let them know I know my stuff. You know what I'm talking about. That's an inspirational kind of. And then there is the persuasive one. This one is mostly deployed by politicians, the ones who know themselves are not, and activists sometimes motivational people, depending on the subject of conversation or focus. Persuasive, where they persuade an audience, right, on what it is that they want them to achieve. And this for me is probably one of the best ways to deliver. And can I say this? You can combine all two or all three, depending on the dimension you are trying to go in the focus of your delivery. There are times you can persuade, there are times you can inspire, and of course, all of that you're going to inform at the end of the day. So you have to then know how to, again, remember, communication, I said, it's an art. It's an art which can be learned. So in the thread of your learning, you then know when to apply which one per time to be able to deliver on what it is that you want to achieve, to get the people to do whatever the focus is that you want to focus on. So be it for information, be it for inspiration, be it for persuasion, you have to be able to determine what kind of speech delivery that you want to make. At the end of it all, you, my dear friend, would have stood out as somebody who is able to communicate effectively. Now, if we were in a pronunciation class, that's where we can start talking about vowel sounds and monophthongs and diphthongs, and as the case may be, where we talk about how to pronounce a certain word and all of those kind of. But that ain't where we are, right? And whilst that, please, is important. Now, that is part of should I say, basic course 2 in the School of Communication. Whilst that is important, while that's okay, right? I just wanted to give us this foundational, basic, primary, in quote, elements of communication. Develop your capacity to know more, and then brush yourself to be able to present you in a way that says he can do this. At the end of the day, deliver. Focus on the idea you're trying to bring on. Forget about the dexterity of your English words. Focus on the knowledge. Once we do that, then we are able to achieve a goal. Once you hit that nail, then you've achieved the goal. Now we can now start talking about, the other matter, which runs into 2 and then advanced and all of those kind of stuff. Now, let me quickly answer the question before I yield the floor, because I'm done with what is on my slide. Somebody asked a question and said, okay, Rashima, I think Rashidat, Raimi, okay, she raised her hand. I'll soon answer you. Okay, I'll soon answer you, but let me quickly answer. There's a question, somebody had asked earlier. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to remember that he talked about speech. How does somebody who has speech impediment be able to communicate effectively? Thank you, sir. I think that was a question he or she asked. Now, I'd like to know, when you mean speech impediment, sir, are you referring to voice 1, 2, or are you referring to a disability in to pronounce or to speak? Please, I want to know. But whichever be the case, I can try to answer both of them. Now, if it is on the voice part, right? There's something you can do, so you have to be able to speak. If it is on the voice, whereby, for example, maybe the tonality of your voice, right? The tonality of your voice is not like, let's say, like my own now, for instance. Okay, who can I mention? Oh, good. Peter Obi. Okay. If you've not, I'm sure all of us have listened, heard Peter Obi speak at one time or the other, in fairness to the man, and with all great respect, Peter Obi is not so much a very, very great vocal person. If you want to account guys who, can hold a microphone and hit you pretty hard. Peter Obi is not that kind of a person. However, he has to still talk, right? And you can't help. That's why I said, see, knowledge, look, knowledge cures all these diseases. No. You remember the guy who sat on a wheelchair who had, I think dyslexia or so it's called. I can't remember the sickness. Who, his neck was, I can't remember his name now. Somebody can help me. Whose neck was bent this way and then slops used to come out of his mouth like that. He was a great scientist. How was he able to do that? See, look, once you know, how can one carry his audience along during a healthy conversation? Just know, sir. Have a superior knowledge, not inferior. Once you have knowledge at your base, it cures. See, people will hear you. I don't lie you, man. We then go here. The reason why people pay a lot of attention to all these other all these other distractions is because the things that they come after the first 5 minutes, probably 10 minutes. Wait, this guy don't talk anything. Wait there. What's he saying there? Everybody just look at something else. But once you're hitting the point, you're delivering the lines. They don't really pay attention to the other one again. I'm not saying that other one is not important. Don't get me wrong. But let's treat it level after level. The first level of treatment is knowledge. Look, I'm very emphatic about this, and this is really important. The first level of treatment to being a great communicator is knowledge. Once knowledge has been handled, then a level of confidence has risen up in you. How do I say this? Look, your face don't shine. You're bold. Then we can now start treating the other things, that then has to do with your charisma and your persona, in ability to drive people along the lanes of conversation. We can talk about that one. And that is very easy to handle. That one is very, very easy. Sometimes we admire the text. Okay, there's another guy in America. Again, it's on YouTube. Please go find him, watch him. Reverend Al Sharpton. If you haven't heard of him before, Al Sharpton. Sorry, Rima. Or Rhyme me, I'm sorry. I'll come to you. I'm sorry, please. I'm coming. Reverend Al Sharpton. I watch him. I mean, you can do it. You can do a mathematics of his speech, whether it is a speech delivered at a funeral or before an advocacy movement. The guy is able to tie his background experience into something that happened at a certain time, and he merges all of that into the current U.S. issues, and he's able to bring politics, science, religion into the end. So you see somebody who is speaking out of knowledge. He's in touch with what is going on. And then sometimes we will listen to it, we admire the vocabulary, the sound of it, but you forget that at the base of this wonderful vocabulary is knowledge. And that's what a lot of my people who teach on communication, we don't really dwell on to tell people this. It's knowledge, friends. Once we have that, we're good to go. Right? And then if it is a pronunciation, yes, ma, thank you. If it is a pronunciation matter, then that may be handled. I'm trying to answer the question on impediments, right? Or impairment. That may be handled in a different way. Maybe a medical issue. I don't know. That's why I'm just giving a surface answer to that question. Okay, Rashidat, Raimi. Okay, please, you may ask your question. Let me check if I had missed anything there. Had I missed anything? Okay, I can't see her question except I had missed it. Okay, one new. Okay. Any other question from any person, before we either move ahead or call it a day or accept our...
Okay, thank you. Hello, sir.
Yes, go on.
Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you for your insights. The presentation has been very engaging. So you mentioned that speakers should avoid dialect interference. However, shouldn't we take pride in our dialects, especially since English is not our mother tongue? As long as a speaker can effectively communicate, does it matter whether dialect interference is present?
Okay. So what I was referring to that is accent. Not necessarily, I didn't say drop your Hausa or Yoruba or Igbo, or like me, I'm a Calabar man now. You know, I didn't say drop that, right? Again, the focus is English language. For instance, I can speak my Efik language clearly as possible. Boy, if I were to speak to an Efik audience now, for instance, I'm not going to speak English. Now my Calabar language now go talk me, and I'll be as excellent, as professional as I can be with Calabar language. So what I'm not saying ditch your 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 language. No, God forbid. It is English over the talk. Now we learn them now. We learned it, right? We learned English language. And so if it is on that level, no, you speak your language. But I'm talking about when you're speaking English and you're speaking English to an audience that hopes to understand you effectively using English language. I said be able to pronounce the English words as succinct, as accurate as possible. Let the first letter and the last letter of every word you speak be heard loud and clear. I didn't say don't have your accent. Accent is a natural ability that is attached to everyone without your buying it. Again, accent is influenced by the environment you grew up. If I'm a Yoruba guy, for instance, and I grew up in the UK, you know I would have picked up the British accent, right? Irrespective of the fact that I'm a Nigerian from Yoruba, but I grew up in UK. So it's an environmental thing. Now, it's okay to want to rise beyond having that accent. There's nothing wrong in so doing. Don't get it wrong now. You can still have the Yoruba accent, or you may drop it if you can train yourself gradually until there's no Yorubaism. Again, I don't have an issue against Yoruba. I'm just using an example of Mabinu. Okay. Until there's no Yorubaism in your accent. Okay, if you can drop it, that's okay. But I'm saying if you have it, don't be ashamed, Rara. It's not an issue, not an issue. The main focus that I'd like us to take along is your pronunciation. Your pronunciation. So, for instance, the Yoruba folk have a problem with H, letter H in words. You have to be able to train yourself beyond that, right? So, how do you train yourself? Practice. Take as much words that have H in them. Rhyme on it, rhyme on it, rhyme on it. Do it many times for weeks, for months, maybe for years, because that's how you get it, until you are able to silence or remove that H factor issue and be able to pronounce. In my own place, for instance, Y is an issue. The letter Y is an issue. So you rehearse as much as possible until you kill that inability. That's what I meant. Thank you very much. Have I answered the question? Or do you need further clarification? Are we there? Okay, I see a question here from...
I think she has actually gotten that.
Oh, okay. Okay. I see a question here from somebody from the DR Congo, says, as a French speaking, again, it's an accent matter, sir. It's accent. You can't help the accent if again, if you can, yeah, but it's an accent. So don't fault yourself about the accent. It is the pronunciation that is the matter. Pronunciation. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
All all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Nelson. And I can say that I have learned a lot today, and I am very sure that a lot of people have learned a lot because I can see even the comment section with what people have actually learned. And sincerely, you've talked about communication, the language, how to use the language, how to manage our composure, self control, and other things like that. Thank you very much. And it's sincerely insightful. And we are grateful for you to have you here today. It's a privilege. Yes, it's a privilege. I am so glad that we are here today and to impact knowledge on everyone here today. And I'm very sure that everyone has gotten one knowledge or the other, and that is a fantastic one. I don't know if anyone still have a question to ask. Please, this is the best time you can ask the question before we let Mr. Nelson be. So you can ask your question, you can raise your hand if you want to speak. You can also put your question into the chat box so that I can read it out and you get an answer for that. Oh, whoa. All I can see here is thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow. So thank you so much, sir. It has been an insightful section, and I must say it is a beautiful one. Thank you so much. And we are so grateful to have you here on behalf of IDEF Africa, on behalf of the participants. They are so glad to have this because it is very important to learn more about communication. And it's not an easy task. Okay, we'll try our best to improve more, even on the factors and how to compose ourselves, how to manage the audience that we communicate to is very, very important because if they are not paying attention, then we don't have any information to pass across. So that is a very wonderful one. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And well done. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful for the time. I'm glad that everyone has been able to get one or two things out of this. Please, 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 please. We need to make this world a better place, and we cannot do that if you and I are not effective in communicating. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. That is a wonderful one to end the class for today. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I want you to continue sharing whatever it is you want to share with him on the chat box, as he would also still be reading, and I'll be reading some out. So thank you so much, sir, Mr. Nelson. Thank you so much.
All right.
At this moment, are we calling on Mr. Emmanuel? Is Mr. Emmanuel on the call? Hello, Mr. Emmanuel, are you there? Okay, while we wait for Mr. Emmanuel to join us, I'll be sharing with us some information. Um, I'll be sharing some information with us. Okay, thank you. All right, so I need to inform that all teams should ensure that they conduct. Sorry. Okay, I need to ensure that all the teams should ensure that they conduct their monthly book review. And this weekend, each team leader is expected to submit a page report of their team book review section. All teams are to ensure they submit their research and workshop reports to avoid being disqualified. Please ensure you do that. Successful fellows of phase 2 will be informed via email next week. Only those that are qualified will be moved to the final phase of the mentorship program. So further information will be shared, and also other activities will also be shared via email. So do get close to your email as more information will be communicated. So I hope this information is clearly noted. All team members should ensure they conduct their monthly book review this weekend. And each team leader is expected to submit a paid report of the team book review section. I hope that is well noted and taken. Okay, is there any other information, please? Is there anything you want to? Is there any question? Okay, if we don't have any question right now, I want to say thank you all for joining this call, and it's wonderful to have you here. Okay, I can see some hands up. Gideon Dunio. Okay, you have the floor. Kindly unmute and ask your question or try to put it into writing, please. Okay, I can see some questions here right now. Okay, every information is going to be communicated through your email. So short, just make sure you stay tuned and look out for every information that you need to get so that you can be in line. So that will be all for today. And thank you, everyone. Do have a wonderful day ahead. So, bye.